Hi, my name is Sarah Bassett and I'm the owner of Root Salon in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We live in a very dry climate and this is a curly hair salon, and so we have a lot of problems with our hair not having any humidity here. So this is a video for my clients and for anyone else that's watching on how to do your curly hair at home with some tips, really showing you how to scrunch with a towel, how to diffuse those intricate things that you sometimes don't know what to do with when you get home. My hair is freshly shampooed and conditioned. So I'm starting with the horseshoe section on the top of my head, and I'm just gonna use a wide tooth comb to get it through my hair. Just makes it so much easier when you have detangled hair, you're not fighting against it at all. So I'm gonna clip up this section, the top section, and then I have the two sections on each side that I'm gonna work the product through, and then we'll do the top section last. And I'm gonna be using climate control detangling spray. And I'm just going to kind of make sure that the hair is evenly wet. And you don't want your hair dripping wet, just kind of like wet enough that it's not starting to frizz at all, but just still like a nice consistent moisture. But I'm going to do a lot of stuff like I would do it in my own house. So I'm gonna really be bending over and grabbing the hair from the back because I think it's really hard to try and style your hair when you're standing up. So I'm gonna split this section into two sections, and I'm going to use Advanced Climate Control, the Redot gel, and I'm going to use probably more than you're used to. I'm gonna separate these into sections so that I don't get lost in the hair. So I have like a pretty good section. I'm gonna grab in a low ponytail. I'm gonna get that product all the way through the ends so the ends are nice and smooth. And then I'm gonna start raking straight across and straight down. The most important thing is that your hands aren't backwards, and that means like this. If you're like this, you have no control and the hair is not going to go into like ribbons or curls. So you want to really make sure that your fingers are going down and that you're really in control. So you can see here that I'm really separating these into thicker pieces, and they're pretty even. And then I'm going to go all the way through the ends, pull it all the way down, making sure that the ends are nice and smooth. Then I'm going to move to the section behind it without getting lost. And half of curly hair is just not missing a section, so you just want to make sure that you're doing it kind of precisely just so that you don't miss a chunk of hair. I'm going to rub my hands together, grab this whole section, rake it through the ends, and then go towards the scalp, really making sure that it's evenly saturated, that my hands are really on the inside. And it really makes it easier if you're tilted, because then you can like get your hands kind of behind you. So there's those ribbons. I'm going to separate and do this smaller section here, really in control, closed, tight fingers, not letting anything fall out. And then I'm going to grab the back section so I don't get lost, really making sure that there's enough product that everything's really slick, easy to get my fingers through. I'm going to do this underneath part, and I'm really tilting so that I can reach underneath the hair. I'm going to start on the top section of my hair. You want to make sure that that is still has enough moisture and that it hasn't dried out in the time that you were doing the sides. That was just a little bit more of the detangling spray. I'm going to split this into two sections, again, just so that I don't get lost. So when I'm at home, I kind of flip this forward so that I don't lose that hair. I'm again using like a quarter size of the Redot gel. I'm going to start at the ends. Mid shaft of the hair, go towards the ends, and then go towards the scalp. Really making sure that I'm getting the front, the back, and the insides. Then I'm going to take thin sections, starting in the back. Again, I'm going to put this forward so I don't get lost. I'm going to rake straight up, and remember, I'm using the inside of my fingers, not backward. So I have lots of control all the way through the ends. And you can see that I'm making ribbons on the top section. So I'm basically, with closed tight fingers, I'm making 5 curls. And then I'm going all the way through the ends and letting it fall. Now I have the front section, which is my last section. I'm going to take a little bit more gel, make sure it's nice and saturated. Then here I'm going to take kind of pie sections so that they're coming to cover the thinning spots that I have here on the side. There we go, and I'll do one on this side. Then another one on this side. Just really still making those ribbons. And I'm just gonna kind of make a little bit of a part in the front for myself, and then the back can do kind of whatever it wants. All right, and then the next step that we're gonna do is scrunching with a towel. And you just can't get enough curl when you scrunch with your hand. It just doesn't quite do the same thing. So I'm just gonna use the towel that I used when I shampooed, and it's a little bit damp. So it's really important when you're in your own house that you really are in like a full L. You're not trying to do everything standing up. You really want the back to fall to your side so that you can really get it. And again, you just want to scrunch the towel, scrunch the hair into a spiral so that all the way up the hair, it's getting curls. You want to make sure that you're not bending the hair. You're not taking it like this and then bending it when you close it, because that's not going to make curls. You almost want to hold a section, bounce it into itself, and then close your fist. And that's going to be the same thing you focus on when we diffuse it. You want little tiny holes in the diffuser with fingers that stick up, and you want there to be an area for the hair to fall into. So you don't want it to be flat, and you don't want slits. Slits blow too much and make your hair frizzy. The same thing that I did with the scrunching of the towel, I'm gonna kind of take sections and I'm gonna bounce the curls into the diffuser all the way to the scalp, and then I'm gonna hold it so that they're spiraled into the diffuser. And then once that section is done, I'm going to move behind it and scrunch it again, making sure that you get it all the way to the scalp so you have that nice height and that the curls are even. Then, once this section is done, I'm gonna take the underneath and we're gonna bounce it into itself until it has like a nice spiral, and then you'll hold it this way. So you wanna continue diffusing like this in sections so that you're, again, not bending the hair. If you bend the hair up like this, it's not gonna curl. You wanna make sure it's bouncing into itself. So make sure that there's enough product in the hair that while you're diffusing, it still looks like it has ribbons. As soon as it starts to get frizzy or break up, it means that you probably haven't used enough product. And you can correct that by using like a spray gel or some more water. But you just want to make sure that while it's drying that you've used enough product so that the curls are staying. And this is creating that cast. So my left side is my troubled side. It's really wavy, almost straight right here, so I have a really hard time getting curl. So I'm gonna use the Alpha Parf sea salt spray, and I like this sea salt spray because it's not that sticky, but any kind of sea salt spray is totally fine. And the hairs on this side is set a little bit, so I'm just gonna spray the sea salt spray here right before I diffuse, and it's just gonna kind of give it a little extra funk that I used to get in humidity that I don't get because I live in the desert. And so I'm just gonna make sure that when I diffuse, that this is the first thing that I diffuse, and that it is really focused on making sure that that part gets curly. Underneath, this part curls a little bit better, so I can do that at the end. So right now my curls are looking pretty good. Remember that they're still not broken up. There's not a lot of frizz. It's still pretty contained. I just need a little bit more height on the top, so I'm gonna flip forward and make sure that I'm diffusing right here all the way to the scalp. Okay, so now the hair's mostly dry, 100%, I don't know, but really close. And I have wavy hair and I have to use so much product with so much hold to get it to stay in those ringlets. So I think wavy haired people are usually kind of afraid to use too much heavy product or too much product because they don't either like the way it feels or they're afraid it's gonna weigh it down. But I can't, me personally can't get this without a lot of product. So I use the climate control gel, which has a really good amount of hold. And I actually, I'm gonna break the cast now and make it a little bit softer. But again, you could just go out like this probably and it would be good. But I don't like to use more. Right now I'm using 3 products, that's too much for me. So I'm not gonna use an oil to break the cast that other people use. I'm just gonna use the detangling spray again because I just don't like to have a lot of product. So I'm just gonna spray my hands with the detangler. I'm gonna rub it around, and you just don't want to run your fingers through your hair after it's dry. So we're just going to kind of squeeze it and get out that stiffness. You can kind of smooth the top. Again, never running my fingers through it. I'm gonna scrunch it so that I get kind of like that nice curl back. And now this side is way softer than the other side. And again, I don't have to buy in a separate product. I'm going to smooth everything, scrunch it out, and really try not to run my fingers through it or touch it too much, just until it's soft. And then my favorite trick is putting my fingers on my scalp like I'm palming a basketball, so you can't see my fingers really, right? And then I'm gonna rub it around in a circle like I have a headache, and then I'm gonna pull the fingers out, and it gives it that nice fullness on the top. And you can do this all day. So like if I'm going out to dinner, I go to the restroom at the restaurant, I can just kind of rub it here, and then I have some more fullness on the top. And just remember, curls aren't perfect. So if you have some things that you feel are a little bit weird, mostly people don't notice. So this is how you get that nice curly hair in the dry desert. Thanks.